Well, a very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe there are several of us in the Indian industry who have to run faster than the gazelle to make sure that we are in the market space. We spent considerable amount of time in terms of look at the caption for this particular session, and finally the consensus was that we need to call it as the global engineering and product development. We spent almost 2 years in terms of doing the Booz Allen Hamilton report along with NASSCOM, and certainly I guess those numbers are fairly holy numbers to all of us, so I wouldn't go back to those numbers for sure. Let me make a few comments on what my experience has been, and also in line with some of the comments that were made by Paul as well as Sudhakar. The first one is that what we are seeing right now is, while cost arbitrage continues to be a fairly important issue, but more important issue with most of the customers coming to India is the value arbitrage. They're all looking for how does Indian companies create more amount of value. And certainly I guess Indian companies, several of them, have come of age at this point of time in order to ensure that it's not just they need to look at cost, but we are in a position to create value for them. A very classic example I keep talking about is a very large aircraft manufacturing company had a problem with one of their sub-assemblies called diode pack assembly. They gave this particular project for re-engineering through one of their tier 1 suppliers. What the Indian company did was reducing the number of components from 14 to 4, suggesting alternative materials which are composites to ensure that the stress levels that could go up to twice, and finally suggesting them alternative manufacturing processes by which the aircraft company would save $21 million in the next 4 years for a $250,000 project it was. That is what Indian companies ought to do, are doing, will have to do more amount of it. That's one observation I have. The second one is continuing on what Paul said, or the part of the first point itself, is with dedicated relationships, it is possible to create more amount of this value creation. So the result is that you need to have that commitment, you need to have a commitment to ensure that you follow all the systems, processes, in order to ensure that the client certainly has that dedication to you, and you have dedication to the client to ensure that we create value for our customers with these relationships. To the second point was, continuing on what Sudhakar said, was most of us believe when we talk about engineering services, try to think it is more amount of product development, and more so it is mechanical product development. And what we see there is a lot more than mechanical CAD or mechanical engineering related product development. Today there is more amount of electronics in terms of cost in many products as opposed to mechanical stuff. So the key driver at this point of time seems to be more in terms of electronics, which is probably takes different forms as embedded systems, or if it goes into aviation, it goes as avionics, or it probably goes into rail systems, it goes in as signaling and interlocking and so on and so forth. So the result is that I think we need to expand our horizon much beyond mechanical systems. It has to go into electronic systems. And more importantly, it has to go into complete product life cycle management. Product development is one aspect of it, and some of them, like aircraft engine manufacturers today, they introduce a new engine into the market space, they wouldn't make money for about 12 years. That's the type of costs that are involved. But why do they still continue to make them is that they still make money in aftermarkets. And there's a huge opportunity in aftermarkets in terms of whether it is technical publishing, or it is tools, jigs, fixtures, or as Sudhakar was mentioning, the manufacturing engineering itself. So there are many opportunities in engineering services as opposed to pure play product development as such. The third point I'd like to make, continuing on this theme of global engineering, what we have also seen is a lot of collaborative engineering is something which has come of age. Collaborative engineering effectively meaning that Indian engineers now work as teams along with the counterparts, whether in Europe or in US. And as a result of that, we find that instead of product development cycles, which probably are lasting for several years, can now be cut down by as much as about 20 to 30% of the time. There are several instances personally we know of in our company where the engineers at a customer site work on a particular concept and leave the concept on their machines when they leave for homes late in the evening, which probably is more like about early in the morning in India, and the engineers down here continue to work on that concept and trying to model it, and thereafter the engineer back in US sees it, what has happened to his particular concept by the time he comes back in the evening. So with this, there is enormous amount of reduction in terms of product development cycles, and as a result, the biggest benefit that's coming out to companies all around the world is the time to market is shrinking. We know of several case studies, and one of them happens to be that we could reduce the time to market by at least 25% than what was originally scheduled if the whole development cycle happened only in the United States. The fourth point I'd like to make is about what I call it as concurrent engineering. The whole world right now moves into a mode where every part of the world, everywhere, there is a key strength. So the result is we need to work in this concurrent mode in order to ensure we create best value finally for the end customer. While it could be true that in many instances that you find that the concept could come from the Western world, a country like United States or Europe, and thereafter you get into a product development mode or product modeling mode in countries like India or China or Mexico, and thereafter it goes to manufacturing. It goes into low-cost countries like Mexico, Brazil, China, and so on and so forth. And finally, if you look at aftermarkets for these products, the product is where the client is. And the sum total of the story is that you have now a piece of action to be done by different parts of the world. And if you can probably make that as a framework into what we are offering to our customers, I think it does certainly appeal to them. So concurrent engineering is something which is feasible, and this is one thing which will make it distinctively different as a service offering into the marketplace compared to the IT services. And finally, to conclude, I think in what we have seen in the last several years, the study of NASSCOM Booz Allen has been only a recent origin, but what's very gratifying is at this point of time that several Indian companies have started getting patents in engineering work, and that is a reflection of the capability that we have in this country. So with the capability that we have, I think what Paul said in terms of building a billion-dollar engineering enterprise, or making sure that many companies become smart and work hard to ensure that we probably can capture a substantial part of this particular market space, is certainly a reality. Thank you.